G'day folks, and welcome to episode 17 of Gourmet Shed. And what we're doing this week is we're going to make a homemade wheel cleaner from a wire brush. And what I'm using is this pack here that I've picked up from a major hardware retailer in Australia. And this pack of wire brushes, it's initially for cleaning metal and so on prior to welding, but what we're going to use is this centre brass brush here to make a wheel cleaner. Now this pack of brushes was about $2.89, $2.90 you might as well say, so you know, there's not much money involved. So what we'll do is we'll move into the workshop and we'll take these suckers apart and start working on the brush. Okay, let's move in there now. Now we've got the brush removed from the packaging, and you can see that the way the bristles are situated in the head of the brush here, you've got this one row here, there's the centre row, but the centre row is offset. And that's ideal because you don't want a brush that's got two sort of individual rows where the bristles aren't touching. What we need is everything to be making contact here. So what I've done, or what I will do, is check this now with a meter. We'll run a meter over it and I'll show you how that works. Okay, I've had to put the meter on its side. It's the best way I can show you how to do this. But so, you know, if we touch either end, I mean, I can prove that the meter's working by touching the, you can see that we're getting a full response there. Now if we touch either end here, this means that the bristles are touching. Wherever I put the probes, I'm getting a response. So in theory, if we remove some of these bristles from the middle, we should be able to get two separate circuits going on here. Right, I'm going to start with this middle row here, and we'll see how we go. So I've got some needle nose pliers, and we're just going to get in there and see if I can rip these suckers out. So I think the best way, yes, there we go. Now you can see how they're made. They actually, the wire is twice as long. Where are we? You can't see that. Right, the wire is actually twice as long as you can see there, and they loop it through a little clip and force it into the plastic. Anyway, it doesn't really make much difference to anything, but what we'll do is we'll try and get the other side out now. I think I'll have to turn it around actually to do that, so we'll do that. Right, here we go. Another one bites the dust. Now, what have we got here? These middle ones look a bit too close for comfort. We don't want any short circuits going on. So, I'll pull one of those out. Okay. And I'll pull its neighbour out just here. Right, now we've got a clearly defined gap there. Now just so we don't get any short circuits, in other words these fibres touching each other, I've just made up a small block of wood. I mean, you could use plastic or card or anything like that, but anything that will just keep the fibres apart, and we'll just super glue that in there. Just whack that in, hopefully it'll stick. Right, that's stuck down now. Now what we've got is, I'm going to sacrifice a couple of these leads I've got with alligator clips at either end, and that's how we're going to get the power to these bristles. So we'll have to get this set up now and work out how we're going to do it. Right, I've stripped some copper wire, and I think what I will try and do is put a ring around the outer bristles. I'll solder it onto that, and that way that sort of ensures that we're getting really good contact with everything. At the moment it's pretty good, so I mean if I put a ring of copper wire around it there, and obviously 2 separate circuits, I can solder my alligator wire on there, so I think that'll work, so we'll try that. Okay folks, I've put a spot of solder on each of these areas here, and I've also tinned the copper wire, so I've gone right around the brush, and so now I'll try soldering on the copper wire and we'll see how that goes. Right, there's the first one done, so we'll just do the other one now, and then we'll see how we go. Okay, second one's done, so just take that out of the vise, and that's looking pretty good. That's the way we want it to go. Now what we're going to do is on that ring wire we've got to solder our connections for the wires with the alligator clips on them. So might even drill some holes through this thing to feed the wires through, although it's getting a bit tricky now. So we might have to think about that a little bit. There might be a solution I'm not thinking of, but anyway, let's see what we come up with. Okay folks, what I've come up with is what I'll do is drill some holes through the top of the brush, just big enough to take the wire through, so I can feed the wire through from the top and then just solder it onto the ring at either end. So I'll go off and I'll have a go at that now, and then we'll get back and see what it looks like. Right, I've drilled some holes, and you can see there's one just there, and I've done one at the other end, which is just down there. So the idea is now to strip the wires on the leads that have the alligator clips, and tin the exposed wire, push it through the hole, and then solder it to the ring wire there. So I'll get onto that, and we'll see how that turns out. Right, I've tinned the wires, and we can just fit that through there, and the other end will be the same. And I'll bend the wire over and solder it to the ring wire, and then we'll be in business. So I'll get onto that now, and we'll see how that turns out. Now all I've got to do is probably put a cable clip on the wires along the arm of the brush so that they don't move around, and away we go. Okay, we've got those soldered on, so we'll just snip the ends off there, clean it up a bit, and have a look at what we're going to do with these leads now. Yeah, so all I've done is I've put a cable tie just here. That's to stop especially this lead wobbling around. If the leads sort of move around, it's only a fairly thin wire that's connected up to the ring wire here, so it could easily break if there's any sort of pull on that. So we've cancelled out that effect, and I might even put another one there, and then I might put some down the length of the cable itself, and just to sort of stop the cables getting tangled up as you're using them. Well, I didn't bother with any extra cable clips down the lead itself. I think that's enough there. So we're ready for testing. So what we'll do is we'll move into the railway room, and we'll try a loco and see how we go. We'll do some wheel cleaning. Right, now folks, the moment of truth. We'll connect this up to some rails. Now I've got an old mainline loco here, and we'll give it some power, and there we go. Right. Okay, so now, so that you can see it, a bit better. We'll try it on this little Bachmann diesel. And hey presto. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind, folks. This is not necessarily going to work on all locos. I mean, I've got an old Lima loco here, and what it does, it's got traction tyres on it, and up the front end here. And what it's doing is it's picking up from that side, and it's picking up from the back here. So it's not really worth running the brush over this just to get these wheels done. I mean, you'd have to put some sort of a jump lead system on the back here to actually get the front to run. So a bit awkward for that, but for your average little 040, 060 tank locos, you know, most of the major steam locos, anything with multiple wheel sets, it's going to work fine. Obviously you've got to be careful and watch out for traction tyres. We don't want to be cleaning any traction tyres. So this little sucker, also I should say that I'm not at all sure how this would work with digital operation, DCC. If there are any little shorts or sparks caused by this, I don't know whether that would in effect blow some of the circuitry in a decoder. So you would have to be very, very careful with DCC, or take advice from somebody about that, because I don't know. I simply don't know. I'm only using this on analogue locomotives, so be very careful in that regard. But if you folks are out there running analogue stock, this will clean your wheels, and it's only cost a few bucks. So I know you can buy ready-made ones, but half the fun of it is making it yourself, isn't it? Anyway, I'll see you next time. Cheers, Gourmet.